Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing great out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day. And I hope everyone's been having a great week out there so far. There's a lot to talk about in this morning's video. We're going to do it a little bit different than what we typically do and just get right into the threat of flash flooding and severe weather across areas of the southeast into the mid-Atlantic for later on this afternoon into this evening. You know, flash flooding has been a heavy topic in the weather world, and rightfully so. You know, we had what happened in Texas. Obviously, most people know about that. We had flash flooding last night in New Mexico. We had it in the suburbs of Chicago last night also. So it's just been a heavy topic. And honestly, today's flash flooding risk across areas of North Carolina, especially Virginia, looks legit. So we need to speak on it. We're going to get very detailed on that. So if you're looking for detailed information on that risk for today, this video is for you. We'll have a segment for the Carolinas, Virginia, all the way up into the mid-Atlantic states. So just utilize those timestamps. After we get done talking about that, we will speak on the rest of the country, break it down section by section. A couple areas, other areas out there run a risk of strong to severe thunderstorm activity also. So we'll go over that. And then we'll go over the next few days and the pattern that just continues to support a lot of storm activity. And then we'll round the video off with an update on the tropics. And there's nothing concerning in the tropics right now, but we're already beginning to watch another time frame where some sort of tropical activity could get going in the Gulf here as we get into about mid-month or so. So we'll speak on that and get detailed on everything. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it. And it gives many others an opportunity to pray over it also in the comments. So let's get rocking and rolling this morning. So this is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center for today's severe weather threat across the eastern U.S. Now I'm making this video as around 6:45 a.m. Eastern time. There'll be another update in about 2 hours. So they might tweak this some, but this is what we got right now. So let's take a broad look at things first. A marginal risk, which is in the dark green, level 1 out of 5, goes all the way down here to southeast Georgia, all the way back into middle portions of Kentucky and Tennessee, all the way up through areas of West Virginia, and gets all the way up to like New York City. But the slight risk, that's a level 2 out of 5 in the yellow. That's a higher risk of severe weather. So let's zoom into that area. So let's start north to south here. So Philadelphia, you're included in that slight risk. All of Delaware, the entire Baltimore, D.C. corridor, all the way down to Richmond, Charlottesville, Roanoke, down to Danville. All the way down to the Winston-Salem, Greensboro area, Durham, Chapel Hill, Charlotte, Hickory, Statesville, down to Monroe, all the way down to Rock Hill, and does include a section of northern South Carolina. So what's driving this risk of severe weather for today? Tornadoes, sub 2% risk, but as always, you can never completely rule it out with any kind of thunderstorm. The wind threat is really what's driving the slight risk upgrade. We have a 15% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour within 25 miles in a given location in this yellow area. And there is a small risk of hail also, just like with any thunderstorm any time of the year. 5% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger. But I'll be honest, you know, the concerning thing to me is flash flooding. You know, the atmosphere is going to be loaded today, so we've had an upgrade from that yellow to that red. That red means here in this region a 40% risk of flash flood guidance being exceeded within 25 miles in any given location. And let's zoom into that area first. That includes Richmond, down here to just north of the Winston-Salem, Greensboro area. It does include Danville. Lynchburg. It does include, well, it's just outside of Roanoke, but basically middle to southern areas of Virginia into the northern areas of North Carolina. 40% risk of flash flooding. And I would not be surprised if we get an extension of this a little bit further south, just due to some model guidance I'm seeing with these storms. It's not going to take much. 1 inch to 2 inches of rain could create a flash flooding setup, because some of these areas have received so much rain, especially from what happened with Chantal a couple days ago. But I will mention there's also a slight risk in the yellow. This is a 15% risk of flash flooding. This includes Philadelphia, a good chunk of New Jersey, southeast PA, down to the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, all of Delaware, a good chunk of the Tidewater. Gets all the way into the mountains. Let's zoom out a little bit because everything gets a little too much, or there's way too many towns on this sometimes. West Virginia included in this, eastern section of Kentucky, eastern areas of Tennessee, and it cuts right through a good chunk of middle and western North Carolina and right through the Midlands of South Carolina to southeast Georgia. 15% risk of flash flooding. So take this serious today. Flash flooding has just been, it has just been devastating. It's been taking lives left and right, and it's awful. So take this serious today. All right, so let's break it down section by section. And I am leaving off a little bit of New Jersey, but I got you covered in the Northeast timestamp in this video. So just jump ahead to that if you're just only worried about New Jersey. It does show a little small section of the southern areas. But let's speak on kind of the mid-Atlantic, D.C., Baltimore quick corridor first. Time frame up here, 2 p.m. Let's get it rolling. 3 p.m. Some storms begin to form. This is going to be more so a west to east movement. 5 p.m., we start to get widespread strong to severe storms. Any of these storms could hit severe limits, guys. Annapolis, there's a storm on top of you. Frederick, you got widespread thunderstorms in the northern half of Virginia. And then we get to about 7 p.m. These storms look pretty intense. Baltimore to D.C., I mean, they could produce hail and damaging winds for sure. 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts along with the flash flooding threat. 8 p.m., 9 p.m., these storms are starting to move into the Tidewater, into the Delmarva area, these regions. And it honestly looks like one sweeping line of storms, but I would not be surprised if we get some lingering heavy rain behind this that could add to already the rain totals you're going to get from the actual intense portion of this line of storms. And we start to get to 10 p.m., and this is when the storms could begin to lose some intensity, but they begin to kind of expand. So flash flooding threat could materialize across this area, along with a damaging wind threat, hail threat. This is 11 p.m., this is midnight, and then this is getting after midnight. Things begin to simmer on down. Could have some lingering downpours all the way into daybreak tomorrow also. Now, how much rain could fall between now and the next, this pretty much takes us between now and tomorrow night. There's areas south of the D.C. Baltimore area that could get 3 to 4 inches of rain. You see this little area right here in yellow? That is, the key says 4 inches, but 3 to 4 inches of rain from Short Pump up to Fredericksburg, Lexington Park, Salisbury. A lot of rain up through Delaware. The entire state of Delaware is good for probably 1 to 2 inches of rain over the next 36 hours. But if you take a look at some of this like short range model guidance, let's look at this. All right, here we go. Not used to flipping back through this. And I do want to just show some love occasionally to some of this short range model guidance, guys, because sometimes this just does better. It nailed Chantal, and this takes us all the way through about right now through this time tomorrow morning. And it shows it still kind of pretty much signals out this area down here for the most rainfall. But there are some areas going over 4 to 5 inches of rain near Short Pump. So there's going to be pockets where more rain could fall. Hence why you have the moderate risk of flash flooding up into this region right here. Okay. Now, we can also take a look at, say, the predicted wind gusts through this area based off model guidance. And, you know, it doesn't really signal a whole lot, but you see these areas in purple. This is where 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts could occur with some of these storms. But all in all, this particular model run doesn't show anything too crazy. Now, it does show around 9, 10, 11 o'clock tonight, some of these storms out in the Tidewater producing some very strong winds, you know, 30 to as much as 50 mile per hour winds, so be aware of that. Now, the rest of Virginia, including areas of eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, and West Virginia, and obviously all of North Carolina, this is what it looks like for you guys today. So we start off around mid-morning. We take it to about midday. Storms already fire here in eastern Kentucky, western Virginia, and right here in the Smokies also. This is typically the hot spot earlier in the day with any kind of storm threat for any kind of day in the summer. We get to about 3 p.m. Widespread thunderstorms, Roanoke up to Charlottesville, Harrisonburg. Even though it doesn't show much, there's probably going to be storms. We got storms south of Charleston, West Virginia. Storms going through western Virginia. Storms going through western areas of North Carolina. Strong to severe. And then we take it to about 6 p.m. Widespread thunderstorms in northern Virginia, western Virginia. They're starting to move into the central areas of the state. Western areas of North Carolina getting hit by strong to severe storms. And this is 8 p.m. Looks like Hickory, Charlotte, down to Rock Hill. Greensboro up to Danville. This could be your kind of time frame. But like I said, model guidance is not going to nail timing. It's just used as guidance. We try to get the best idea, right? And then we get to 10 p.m. Storms are still cruising through the middle portion of North Carolina, southeast Virginia, Richmond. Anybody in between south of Richmond, you're getting hit by storms later this evening, like right around probably bedtime tonight. And then we get to about midnight. Storms are starting to move to the eastern areas of North Carolina, southeast Virginia, Raleigh getting hit by some storms. And then we get after midnight. These storms are still cruising through eastern areas of North Carolina. This is 3 a.m. in the morning, and they're still rumbling through. And it takes all the way till about daybreak tomorrow for these storms to make it all the way to the North Carolina coastline. You can see Wilmington, Jacksonville getting hit about 7, 8 o'clock, around this time tomorrow. So rainfall, based off the experts at the Weather Prediction Center, as you can tell, most rain up here in Virginia. Let's see if we have any updated information with this. So this is the latest information. Richmond, about 2.5 inches of rain between now and tomorrow evening. But you see this entire area in western Virginia and into the Piedmont and central areas of North Carolina. These purple areas, that's anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain. These red areas, that's over 2 inches of rain forecast. So it's not going to take much. Chapel Hill right into here, going for about around an inch of rain. It's not going to take much. Okay, so just be aware of this. And, if I once again, I can look at a short range model here and see what it says as far as rainfall with this, that. Sorry about having to flip back and forth, but just want to show you all the information available here. What does the HRRR model run show? I think it's worth showing some of this short range model. It's between now and tomorrow morning. And man, it shows some pockets of very heavy rain, guys. There's pockets of 2 to 3 inches of rain. You got a lot of rain showing up down here for our friends here in southeast North Carolina. So there's pockets of heavier rain. Model guidance is not going to nail this, but some areas could get a lot of rain from some of these storms. The atmosphere will be loaded and ready to go. All right, we start off and we look at predicted wind gusts with these storms. And you can see how these storms intensify once they get into the western and central areas of North Carolina. 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts with some of these storms. And then you start to get into, say, 10 p.m. Looks like it just gets breezy ahead of these storms regardless if you get storms or not. But some of these storms, like along the North Carolina-Virginia border, producing 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts. And then it heads on off. So just watch out for these storms producing very strong winds. Now, Georgia and South Carolina, the threat of both flash flooding and severe weather begins to decrease a little bit down here, but it's definitely worth showing. 2 p.m., already some sea breeze thunderstorms popping off, in the South Carolina-Georgia coastline. This is just typical summer-type stuff, and these storms will kind of dance around. But the main push in the atmosphere gets going here 6, 7, 8 o'clock. So we're getting some storms around Statesboro around 7 o'clock. We're getting some storms up here in central northern South Carolina. We just have to watch for clusters of thunderstorms, especially Columbia points north up here. And definitely not as widespread as what we just showed you for North Carolina, but could get some organized convection storm action after midnight from the Midlands of South Carolina through the PD. PD is an area that definitely got a lot of rain, so be careful for a lot of rain that could get going here in eastern areas of South Carolina later tonight. And actually about 5 o'clock in the morning, this has a pretty nasty line of storms cruising through eastern sections of North Carolina, then hitting Myrtle Beach tomorrow morning. So that's something to watch out for. But rainfall predicted between now and about tomorrow evening. Listen, I think more rain than what this is showing could happen in Myrtle Beach and Charleston. So I'm going for more than what it's showing. And let's see if there's any updated information. There's not. But, they're going from about an inch to an inch and a half from Columbia to Rock Hill down to Augusta. So some areas will definitely get a lot of rain from this. So just want to get very detailed for you folks around these areas. It's been flooding has been a sensitive topic lately, and rightfully so. So let's go over the rest of the country. So this is the lower 48. We got some energy cruising across areas of Indiana, Ohio. We got heavy rain up here in lower Michigan. We got some rain dancing off the southeast coastline, a little bit of storm action here in northern Florida. We got areas of storms surging south across western Texas, little area of storm here in northern areas of Nebraska, also North Dakota. We got some rain here in southern New England, and a little bit of energy across the northern Rockies. But Moving past that, we have a lot of red flag warnings in this hot pink color across the western U.S. It's been getting dry very fast. It's been hot, so it's drying out. It's hot. We got a fire risk. And then we got the extreme heat warnings across Arizona, sections of Nevada and Southern California. We got the heat advisories in the orange, and we got flood watches littered about across areas of North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Southeast PA, all the way up into New Jersey. Flood watches are in place. They are in place. So listen, it's not a knock at anybody, but the flood watches are in place. You guys should know that. So they're telling you ahead of time, the risk of flash flooding is in place. You got a flood watch. Let me get it right. A flood watch. Yes, I always want to say a flash flood watch. So the possibility of flooding is there. We just went over it. But the rest of the country, as far as severe weather chances, we've already talked about this. There is a level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather across lower Michigan into areas of Ohio and Indiana. We will kind of section off that area when we go through today's forecast here in a second. And then we got a marginal risk that goes from areas of Oregon through Idaho through Montana, gets all the way back down to the plains. And then we got a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather here, a slight risk. And, there is a 2% risk of a tornado in areas of the Dakotas. And the wind threat, there is a 15% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour in the yellow, but in that black outline region, period, right in the middle of this, 10% risk of winds exceeding 75, 80 miles per hour. So, hail threat, there is a risk of significant hail also. The yellow area, that is a 15% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger. And then the black outline region, that's a 10% risk of significant sized hail, 2 inch in diameter or larger. The rest of the country, as far as flash flooding, there is a marginal risk down in Florida. We know it happened in Kerrville. Right now, just a 5% risk of flash flooding, but it's not going to take much in some of these areas, so just be aware. The rest of the southeast, we've already broke down, a good chunk of it, but just be aware of some thunderstorms scattered about the rest of the southeast. I mean, it looks like northern Mississippi could definitely get it, western areas of Kentucky and Tennessee, definitely scattered thunderstorms from Jacksonville up to Savannah, scattered thunderstorms across areas of just the rest of Florida, southeast, Louisiana has gotten thunderstorms just about every single day. And just some storms dancing around out there. Just normal type stuff. I wanted to section off the Carolinas, though, and Virginia for a reason, just because you have the higher risk of more high impact weather. The Northeast today, the only area I'll watch out for is probably, New Jersey up to southern New England. But you're probably going to get some thunderstorms across Ohio today, Northeast PA, Northwest PA, Western New York. Some thunderstorms will pop up all the way up into western Maine through New Hampshire, central sections of Mass, all the way just the rest of southern New England. You got to watch these storms. They almost look like supercells here in Massachusetts. But a big area of storms down here that we've already broke down. So if you missed it, check out the beginning of the video. And then we continue to move forward here. And we get into the overnight hours and just some leftover heavy rain across southern New England throughout the overnight hours all the way into tomorrow morning. But just taking a closer look here at southern New England, starting off this morning, getting through about mid-afternoon, some thunderstorms here in Rhode Island, southeast Mass, eastern areas of Connecticut, and then we could get some more thunderstorms that pop up here around Worcester. Springfield could get it, Norwich, or hopefully that's the way you pronounce it. But you're getting to 9 p.m., 10 p.m. I would watch out for a little bit of flash flooding up here in central Mass. It looks like storms form and kind of just hang out over the same areas. So just be aware of that. And I'm just very sensitive to some of the short-range model guys these days because of what's been happening. And then a big area of convection later on tonight will surge up through Long Island, through southern New England. This could bring some storms. And, just kind of taking a look at what's, let's see how much rainfall this is showing. See how it picks up on that really heavy rainfall in this area right into here. Wants to dump 2, 3, 4 inches of rain between Springfield and Worcester. So I think these pockets of heavy rain are possible up here. So just be aware of this stuff. Okay, could get more rain than what you forecast. South central U.S., Watch out for some thunderstorms in eastern Texas today. Some of this activity could sneak into central Texas, right where we had the devastating floods. So definitely not widespread thunderstorm activity by any means, but definitely possible. And then we get into the overnight hours. Now, I will say watch out for some strong to severe storms later tonight in areas of Kansas, but it just does not look very widespread. Rainfall between now and tomorrow night across Texas, Louisiana. We're going to have some pockets in the purple. That's where you could get over an inch of rain. But all in all, just a few tenths of an inch of rain here, an inch of rain there. Some people won't even get that, maybe nothing. But there's many areas that could get measurable rainfall. So just be aware of that in these regions. We know what happened in Kerrville. You guys could get a few tenths of an inch of rain, but definitely not several inches of rain from what I'm seeing right now. North central U.S., a couple areas to watch, one being a severe weather threat here in lower Michigan. Watch out for these storms. It's around 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. And then some storms shooting out of the plains across the Dakotas and Nebraska for today also. And some of these storms could eventually continue to be intense across eastern areas of North Dakota and then dump a lot of rainfall across northwest areas of Minnesota. But just taking a closer look at some of these areas, 10 a.m., getting into this afternoon. This is 3 p.m., 4 p.m. See some storms dancing around here in Saginaw down to Lansing, Kalamazoo. Watch out. These storms will kind of just be everywhere. It's going to be tough to figure out exactly where they're going to form and hit. But this is 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. So just some storms dancing around. Anywhere where storms can form here in lower Michigan, they could definitely reach strong to severe limits. So, and just a closer look at the Dakotas and Nebraska. We take it into about afternoon. We got some storms surging through the western and central areas of South Dakota all the way into areas in Nebraska. And then we get into the evening hours. We get into the overnight hours. And I do want to watch, if you live up here in eastern areas in North Dakota, this is the late evening, middle of the night time frame. Cluster of storms right here developing. Watch out Fargo and just, wait, is Fargo over there? Anyways, getting geographically challenged here. But we got some heavy rain surging across northern areas of Minnesota and some scattered downpours down there in Iowa for tomorrow morning. And I'm sitting here double checking myself. Yeah, Fargo. I was right. Fargo. Okay, so I was wondering if Fargo was in the eastern sections of North Dakota, but now I done lost track of where I was. And yeah, right here, western U.S. Just be mindful of some storms that could reach strong to severe limits in eastern areas of Oregon through central areas of Idaho through Montana. It doesn't look like much on here, but there could be some storms flowing through that entire area later on this afternoon to this evening. Nothing too crazy or anything like that. We probably need the rain in some of these areas, but just be aware of that. Some clusters of rain showers here in southern areas of Wyoming and the higher elevations of Colorado is possible also tomorrow morning. Temperatures, normal summer type stuff, warm, humid, nothing unusual. I mean, we're getting into the middle portion of July, creeping closer to the dog days of summer, but it is well above average all the way into the high plains, 90s, 100s, all the way up into Montana, the Dakotas. It's actually cooler in Texas, way cooler in Texas than it will be in Montana today. Blistering hot across the southwest with these extreme heat warnings in place. You're getting a bit of a cool down in the Pacific Northwest, though, once you get sort of closer to the Cascades and stuff like that. But severe weather chances to come. Listen, I mean, there continues to be a risk of severe weather tomorrow, your Thursday, across areas of the eastern U.S. Marginal risk, a level 1 out of 5. Risk of severe weather in the dark green extends all the way into New England. And then you got a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather for the Carolinas. I mean, this includes Augusta, Columbia, the Greenville-Spartanburg area, Charlotte, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh. A lot of these same areas will get the opportunity for severe weather today. There's a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather here. It's not often you get double slight risk in the middle of summer here in the Carolinas. And then we got a bimodal slight risk here across the northern plains and one across the central plains. And the tornado threat, 5% risk in Nebraska, sub 2% risk in the Carolinas. The damaging wind threat, we got a 15% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour between eastern Georgia all the way up to southern sections of Virginia. And then we have a 15% risk of severe wind gust up here and down here. And then the hail threats, pretty low for tomorrow's severe weather threat. Look at day 3, another level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather across areas of the eastern U.S. And then we got a large marginal risk stretching from the upper Midwest all the way into the central plains. So we'll see if we get an upgrade to a slight risk for these days. And I haven't even looked at day 4. Nothing outside of this. Go all the way to day 8, might as well. But I will check out, say, the flash flooding threat for tomorrow and the next day. Tomorrow's flash flooding risk, we do have a slight risk, 15% risk of flash flooding here in areas of the Midwest. And then we're going to have another risk of flash flooding across areas of the Carolinas and Virginia for tomorrow. So some of those same areas that have that risk of severe weather flash flooding today, we'll have it again tomorrow. So day 3, we'll zoom out, just large areas that run a 5% risk of flash flooding. So moving forward here, an update on the tropics. Right now, there's no areas to watch. No tropical activity expected over the next 7 days. But I would not be surprised if over the next few days, they might put an area of interest here, show up in yellow here in northern sections of the Gulf. So I'm going to explain why. So this is the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook. This is for week 2, July 16th through July 22nd. And it has the central to northern areas of the Gulf highlighted for around a 20-ish% chance of tropical development. Not very high, but this is kind of an extended version of this, right? So the Climate Prediction Center always goes further out than your traditional 7 to 10 days, but they're already watching that area, the experts, right? So why are they watching this area? Well, if we take it out to about the middle portion of this weekend, you're going to just see blobs of green, some splashes of yellow, red, orange on your screen. Now, as we get into around early next week, and then eventually about this time next week, you're going to see a lot of green down here in the northern Gulf. Now, watch what happens. It pops off an L here. This is about a week from right now. 1014 millibar low pops up, and there's something tropical trying to get going here. And it kind of moves east to west, probably around some sort of steering current out here, and cruises kind of towards Louisiana and Texas, gets as strong as a 1011 millibar low, and eventually next Thursday morning, this just kind of fizzles out and drops a lot of heavy rain potentially on top of Louisiana and Texas. But there's something there. You can, if I put it quicker in motion, I'm going to back it up here. I'm going to kind of go from next Monday to next Friday. See how I kind of go in motion, how it just cruises across the Gulf? That's something to watch. A better way to look at this, in my opinion, when you can't really see what's going on the precipitation output, is the low-level spin vortice map. So this is at 850 millibars. It's about 4,000 to 6,000 feet up in the air. We get this in motion. You can see there's some energy right in here. You can see these wind barbs kind of rotating cyclonically around each other. Not a tight rotation, but there is something spinning around right into here. And this is being generated off some homegrown activity. We've been talking about a very wet pattern setting up over the next several days. And there's just going to give you a lot of lower pressure, a lot of energy being kind of bogged down from a ridge. It'll most likely build on top of it. So a lot of energy will be in place down here. Eventually, sometimes, some of this energy could get back over the open waters off the coast of the southeast of the Gulf, and then all of a sudden it can generate some sort of tropical system. Happens every single hurricane season. It just happened with Chantal. So it's just something to watch. The Euro not really showing much at all with this. It keeps going back and forth. Now, one thing that I have not shown you guys, and I didn't pull it up, but we're going to just do it on the fly here, is the Euro ensemble showing any kind of signal between now and the next 10 days? No, not really. So, what about the GFS ensemble showing a little bit of something, but there's just a few members. But all in all, what you can tell here is on the GFS, there's a big slug of moisture. Precipitation values spike well above 2 inches, and you can just tell in this area there's a lot of tropical moisture hanging out and kind of cruising, east to west across the Gulf in that fashion. So we'll continue to watch this and figure it out. That's all I got, guys. I do apologize for not having a Bible devotion this morning. I'll make 2 days in a row, so shame on me. I'll be honest, I just chose to sleep in this morning and missed my quiet time. So I'll definitely double and triple down between now and the rest of the week. But I just appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there. Take the weather serious. Don't wait to take it serious until it gets serious. It could literally cost you your life. So God bless all y'all. We'll talk soon.